Hey guys, so welcome back. Now that you've learned how to cast on, let's learn how to actually knit. The first stitch we're going to learn is called a knit stitch. It is represented as a capital letter K on your pattern. So anytime you see the letter K and it says a 2, 3, 4, whatever number after it, that's how many stitches it wants you to knit. The knit stitch is also called the garter stitch. If you want to just learn the knit stitch, you can do what's called the garter stitch, which means you knit every single stitch, and you can make yourself a scarf, you can make a blanket, all with one stitch. So let's learn this here. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to pick up my working yarn here with my left hand. This is what the knit stitch actually looks like. I've done a few rows here. It's kind of fluffy. It's the same front and back. What we're going to do is we're going to learn how to pick up your first stitch. So I have my full needle or my working project over here. I've got my empty needle in my right hand. And so to pick up your first stitch with my working yarn to the back of my project, always to the back. Remember, working yarn is the yarn connected to the ball of yarn. What we're going to do is we're going to take our empty needle and we're going to pick up the first stitch by sliding under this first stitch right here. Kind of make a little X marks the spot here with your knitting needles. I'm going to take my working yarn and I'm going to wrap it around that back needle, and then I'm going to slide back through and then pull it off my needle. So that's one stitch right there. See how that's now connected to my work? And so now we're going to pick up this second stitch. Slide under, just like that. So now you've made that little X pattern. Wrap around, pull back through. As I'm knitting with my left hand over here, I'm kind of scooching my work up towards the top of the needle. If your work's way down here, you're going to be pulling and it's going to be tight and hard to work with. So you always kind of want to keep your work at the top of your needles. Not too far to the top because then it has a tendency to pop off of it. So let's do the third stitch here. Slide under, wrap around, pull back under and through. Slide under, wrap around the back, slide under the needle, pull off. Slide under, wrap around the back, slide back through, and then pop it off. One thing you might notice is that if you kind of keep your needles in contact with each other, you're going to have a lot more success here. So as I slide under, my needles are still touching. Let me get you this back pattern, like view here. I'm going to wrap it around. You kind of want to make sure that you keep this tight on your finger or however you want to hold it. And then I'm going to slide it back through, keeping my needles in contact with each other so my work doesn't slide off my needle. And you just continue this process here. Slide under, wrap around, pull back through, slide under, wrap around, pull back through. I'm kind of a person of sayings, and so that helps me to say that out loud, or at least in my head. As you get started, it might help you as well. Slide under, wrap around, pull back through, and you just do this until you are finished with your row. Slide under, wrap around, pull back through, slide under, wrap around, pull back through, until you get to the very end here, which I'm gonna show you. You also kind of want to keep this pulled down here so it doesn't all build up. Slide under, wrap around, pull back through, slide under, wrap around, pull back through, slide under for the last stitch, wrap around, pull back through, and now what you have is a row of a knit stitch. You can just kind of straighten these out. And if you continue working that way for as long as you want to work it, this is what your project will look like. You can make a scarf, like I said, or a blanket. So that is the knit stitch, you guys. Come back later and we'll learn how to purl. Have a good day.